Real Madrid already have players who can finish attacks. What they still need is someone who can break the defense before the finish comes. That is why Diomande matters. At 19, the RB Leipzig winger has already produced 12 goals and 8 assists in one Bundesliga season. But the numbers are not the main point. The footage shows a direct winger who receives the ball and immediately attacks the defender in front of him, move inside and turn a slow possession into a 1-versus-1 before the defensive shape is ready. Real Madrid do not need another player who simply wants the ball. They need someone who changes what happens after receiving it. A year ago, most football fans outside Germany barely knew his name. Diomande joined Leipzig in 2025 with a contract running until 2030. He was not expected to become one of Europe's most discussed young attackers this quickly, but his first Bundesliga season changed the conversation. 12 goals, 8 assists, and regular minutes against senior defenders gave Europe something more reliable than youth-level potential. His rise was fast because his game was easy to notice. He did not hide from duels. He did not receive the ball and immediately look backwards. He attacked space, carried the ball forward, and forced defenders to make decisions. Now Real Madrid have entered talks around a player whose development has moved much faster than his reputation. That is the first thing to understand about him. Diomande is not interesting only because he scores. He is interesting because he changes the defensive picture. One defender must step closer, another has to cover behind. The midfielder must move toward the wing. Even before Diomande completes the dribble, the opponent has already changed its shape because of him. That is why the major clubs are watching. Not because he is already complete, but because the most difficult attacking quality is already there.
My name is Diomande.
The scary part is not his top speed, it is how quickly he decides to use it. Most wingers allow the defender one small advantage. They receive, stop, look up, and give the defensive line time to settle. Diomande often removes that pause. His first touch is not used to protect the ball, it is used to move the duel forward. That forces the fullback to react while moving backwards. And once a defender begins retreating, the choices become worse. Step forward and Diomande can push the ball beyond him. Drop too early and Diomande can carry the ball closer to the box. Show him outside and he has the speed to reach the line. Protect the outside and he can move into the half space. He does not need a complicated sequence. One direct touch can change the angle of the entire attack. That is why defenders fear him. Not because every action ends with a goal, but because every reception can become a race before they are ready. But speed becomes dangerous only when the defender cannot predict the direction. Diomande can threaten both sides of the defender. That sounds simple, but it creates the hardest kind of 1-versus-1. If the fullback closes the inside lane, Diomande can attack the outside shoulder and use his pace. If the defender protects the line, Diomande can shift the ball inside and move toward goal. His body feints matter because they force the defender to commit before the ball moves. A small lean of the shoulder can create half a meter. At this level, half a meter is enough. The fullback is no longer choosing between a good and a bad answer. He is choosing between two dangerous ones. And when the midfielder moves across to help, the problem spreads. One duel becomes a structural decision. The defense must either leave Diomande alone or move another player away from the center. Now look beyond the player he beats. The first effect is obvious. Diomande can eliminate the defender in front of him. The second effect is more valuable. His threat changes where everyone else has to stand. The fullback cannot move too far inside because Diomande can attack the line. The nearest midfielder cannot ignore him because one clean touch may create a direct run toward the box. The centre-back may have to shift wider to protect the channel, and when those players move, space appears somewhere else. A striker can attack the near post. A midfielder can arrive at the edge of the area. A teammate on the opposite side can receive with more time. Diomande's value is not limited to the final action. Sometimes the attack improves simply because the opponent is already worried about what he might do next. Real Madrid already have elite attackers, but elite does not always mean complete. Madrid can score through individual quality, quick combinations, movement between the lines, and devastating transitions. But some matches demand a different solution. When the opponent protects the center and refuses to leave space behind, the attack can become narrow. The ball moves across the pitch, but the defensive block moves with it. That is when a true 1-versus-1 threat matters. Someone must stay wide enough to stretch the line, direct enough to attack the fullback, and brave enough to repeat the duel even after losing the first one. Diomande could give Madrid that profile. He would not need every attack to pass through him. His positioning alone could force the opposition to defend a larger area, and when the game opens, his speed could turn one clearance or one vertical pass into an immediate threat. Now imagine that profile inside Madrid's attack. If Diomande holds the width, the opposition fullback must stay connected to him. That creates more room inside for Madrid's central attackers. If the defender moves inward, Diomande can receive near the line and attack 1 versus 1. If the defensive line pushes higher, he can threaten the space behind it. If it drops, Madrid gain more territory in midfield. His presence creates a chain of small advantages. The central players receive with more room. The striker sees wider gaps between centre-backs. The opposite winger can attack the far post. Madrid become harder to read because Diomande offers 2 different threats from the same position. He can receive the ball and drive forward, or he can run beyond the defence without touching it. That means the fullback cannot focus on only one movement. And this is what opponents may fear most. Madrid are already one of the most dangerous teams when the game becomes open. Diomande could make those moments even faster. He does not need the ball played perfectly into his feet. He can attack the channel, receive while running, and force the defender to turn toward his own goal. That is the position every defender hates. He cannot see the ball, the runner, and the space at the same time. One vertical pass can remove the midfield. One acceleration can turn a balanced situation into a direct attack. Diomande would give Madrid another runner capable of carrying the ball over distance without slowing the move down. And because he can operate on either side, Madrid could move the threat depending on the opponent. But direct football creates danger only when the final decision is right. Diomande is still developing. His directness is one of his greatest strengths, but it can also lead him into crowded areas. The first defender may be beaten, then the final pass arrives late. A shooting opportunity may appear, but one extra touch closes the angle. At Leipzig, those mistakes are part of development. At Madrid, every decision is judged more quickly. He would also face more low blocks, less open grass, and opponents prepared specifically to stop him. That means the next stage is not about becoming faster. It is about becoming more selective, knowing when to attack, when to release the ball, when to stay wide, and when one simple pass can create more damage than another dribble. And that is why Madrid are looking at him. Diomande would not arrive to carry Real Madrid's attack. He would arrive to make it less predictable. He can stay wide and stretch the defensive line. He can attack the full-back before the block settles. He can run into open space when Madrid regain possession. And he can force a second defender to move toward him, creating room for the players inside. That is the real value of his profile. Madrid already have players who can finish attacks, create moments and decide games. Diomande could give them another way to start the damage. He is not the finished version yet. The final decision still needs work. The pressure would be greater. The space would often be smaller, but the threat is clear, and in a team already filled with elite talent, a different threat can be more valuable than another similar star. Real Madrid are already dangerous. Diomande would not simply add another name to the attack. He would add width, speed, directness, and a problem opponents cannot ignore. Madrid do not need him to become their biggest star. They need him to make every other star more difficult to stop.